What up, fam? Agent O here, and I've got an action figure review. And today I'm going to be reviewing the SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Ryuki and Dragreder. And I've got a couple other Kamen Rider Ryuki figures from the SH Figuarts line, and I've always been impressed by all these figures. And this one is like practically it's no different, man. They always hit it out of the ballpark when it comes to replicating these characters and putting them in action figure form. And this figure is no different. I'm just gonna jump right into the review and start off by saying that once again they nailed it with the great paint apps. It's show accurate, and which is as usual, it's just expected from SH Figure Arts. And I also noticed it's kind of a big deal to me because they kind of didn't really need to do it. But if you look at his head and you look at the grill, you look beyond the grill to see his eyes. They actually, like, through the visor, you can actually see his eyes are made with that translucent plastic with the compound eye effect. And they didn't even need to really do that because it wasn't necessary, but it's really nice that they were staying that dedicated to making these figures look as good as possible by putting that compound eye effect in there with the translucent plastic. It they could have easily just gotten away with it by just painting the eyes red and then putting that visor grill over his eyes to cover up you know the fact that they took a shortcut, but they didn't. And that's a pretty good look on their part. And also same with all the other Ryuki figures and most of the other Sentai inspired figures that SH Figure Arts does. He has pretty much the same body type as all the other Ryuki figures. It's just that obviously the chest part, the shoulders, and the head are a totally new sculpt to match the differences that occur with the different characters on the show. He comes with your standard hands that you would expect from SH Figure Arts. You've got your open, your relaxed, your closed fisted, your gripping, your card holding, and your sword holding or weapon holding hands. Same type of articulation too, because once again, it's the pretty much the same figure, with a different color and head sculpt and all that. And the head's on a ball joint, the neck is connected to the torso on another ball joint, so that adds to the range of motion you can get with the articulation. He's got double jointed elbows, knees. He's got ball jointed hands. He's got an ab crunch. He's got a hip swivel. He's got ankle tilt. He's got toe swivel. He's got everything that you need to get some really nice dynamic poses out of this figure, just like all the other SH Figure Art Kamen Rider Ryuki figures and most of the other, figures from any other Sentai inspired figure from that line. Um, I also loved how the ball joint that's connected to the shoulder is connected to another ball joint in the torso, and that adds for a bit more range of motion. So you can get those double grip weapon poses out of this figure, and it makes it look a bit more natural. I feel like that should be like a standard with any SH figure art figure that they do. Um, and that's really gonna wrap it up for my review on Ryuki himself, because there really isn't much. If you're into these figures, there really isn't much different from any of the other Ryuki figures, and there really isn't that much more you can say that hasn't already been said about those other figures. You could pretty much apply it to this figure, and it would be the same thing. Um, so I'm going to talk about the Drag Rider figure now, and that figure is, in a way, its own figure, and just as much as it is an elaborate accessory for Ryuki. You pretty much He's pretty much connected with ball joints, so he's got a lot of play, and you can do a lot of serpentine. You can do a lot of serpentine motions and poses with him. Um, his mouth has an open and close articulation. The legs are also on ball and swivel joints, so you can get some posability. Although it is still a little limited, but the little legs. I can't. They're not going to really be able to do that much anyhow. Um, the red and the silver, and gold metallic paint, adds to the overall cool look of this figure. I mean, it's put together pretty well. The legs and underside actually disconnect from Dragreder, and Ryuki can use them as either handheld shields or we can use them as shoulder pads. There's a way to attach them to his shoulders, and when you attach them to his shoulders, they still don't get in the way of any other kind of poses, or they don't obstruct his arms or his head from doing anything that you want to do with the figure, which is really good. I mean, they're on a ball joint, so it makes it really easy to move them around and get them where you need to get them. His tail, the tail end of the Drag Rider's tail is Ryuki's sword, and I really like the Chinese look of the sword. It matches with this Chinese look of the dragon that they went with. And it looks really nice. He holds it in his hands really well, so there's no, you can get some cool poses out of him. I mean, I have like literally nothing bad to say about this figure. It's a well crafted, well executed figure. Both Dragreder and Ryuki. I feel like I got my money's worth out of this figure because I kind of got two action figures for the price of one. With Dragreder. One thing I will say though is that I'm surprised that Dragreder, as big as he is and as much plastic that it took to make him, I'm surprised that he came packaged with Ryuki. I could have sworn I wouldn't have been surprised to see Bandai or SH Figuarts sell him separately because he's big enough. Like I said, he's big enough to be an action figure all on his own for like maybe 25 or 30 bucks. Maybe $10 off of Ryuki. I'm surprised to see them packaged together for 40 bucks. Unlike Zolda and Magnu Giga, which Magnu Giga sold for I paid well over $200 for that figure because it was a Tamashii Web exclusive, and Big Bad Toy Store had them, just happened to have them in stock and had them on sale. So that was the only way I could get a hold of them, and I wonder why they made that move with Magnu Giga and didn't do that with Dragreder. Which I'm not complaining, mind you. I'm happy that he came packaged with Ryuki because it feels like I'm getting a free figure, but it just seems weird that they did it for one figure and not the other. Granted, you can do a lot more with Magnu Giga than you can with Dragreder, but still, it's a lot of plastic, and the way these companies act, like ABS plastic is so expensive that they have to charge these exorbitant prices in order to make ends meet. It strikes me as odd that they didn't do that with this figure, and like I said, I'm happy they did it. It's just weird, and it's all good really for me. I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. It's easier on my wallet, I'll tell you that. So I can't think of anything bad to say. I mean, the only thing I would say is the whiskers, those two big whiskers on Dragreder. They're made out of, it's a thin plastic, so just be careful you don't accidentally snap it off, moving them around or whatnot. I mean, that's pretty much it. I got all his other accessories. They all work the way they're supposed to work. They're painted well. They don't have any kind of flaws that I could see. Obviously he comes with those cards that you can put in his advent, thing that goes onto his arm. I'm sorry because I don't really watch the show. I watched a couple episodes of it and I was like, yeah, this show isn't all that great. I like the figures and the designs of the suits and stuff more than I liked the show. So I'm not a fan in that respect. I'm more of a fan of the design, and I may have mentioned that in another Ryuki review, maybe with Zolda or Taiga. I can't remember which one, but yeah, I mean, they always SH Figuarts always hits its mark. So I'm pretty much finished. I got nothing else to say about this figure that hasn't already been said and doesn't really need to be said because this is a good action figure. If you can get your hands on it, go ahead and do it. You know, don't hesitate. Get it while you can because the prices on these things are gonna go up, especially since he comes with such a large accessory, practically an extra action figure. I've been trying to find a. I missed when Kamen Rider Night came out, the Ryuki figure with the. I'm sorry, from the Ryuki show. I missed when Kamen Rider Night came out, and now I can't find them for less than $100. And it's too bad because I think that's another good figure, and I would like to add that to my collection. But I'm just gonna have to wait until maybe I can catch a break at some point and get them for a little less. But anyway, I'm gonna be back with some other reviews and some other figures. I've got a bunch of stuff lined up in the pipeline. I just have to get around to sitting down and recording it all. So that's pretty much gonna do it for this review. I'm sorry, it really wasn't much of a review, but I really didn't have a whole lot to say. And that's pretty much gonna be it. I'm Agent O, and I'm out. Peace.